America now faces a battle of Trenton moment. We are still in a terrible recession. Our dollar is weaker by the hour. We face threats to our economy from India and China, which are exacerbated by our mushrooming federal debt. And we have very unstable minds and hands reaching for nuclear weapons in North Korea, Iran, and even in the form of insurgents in Pakistan. As Washington did in the winter of 1776, we must do now, in the winter of 2009, three things. One, we need to understand our surroundings and our situation. Two, we need to face our difficulties head on, squarely and honestly, and not just hope for the best. And three, we must seize the opportunity that lies before us. Throughout our history, times of great struggle have given Americans and their leaders a chance to put aside little things and return to what really matters. Leadership, vision, strength, and purpose, courage of conviction, and above all, action. These are the hallmarks of our nation's forefathers, and today's challenges require us to once again live by those words. With unemployment at historic highs, credit tough to come by, and weak business and consumer spending, this country's leaders in Washington should work together to find common sense solutions to getting us on stable economic footing by giving job creators every incentive to hire. Now, let me suggest 5 common sense ideas that our president and this Congress can do right now to put us back on the path to economic prosperity. First, stop the deluge of rules and regulations that are detrimental to job creation. The president should right now issue an executive order halting any measure that would result in more lost jobs or negatively impact small businesses. Second, we should freeze discretionary domestic spending. That would save $53 billion this year. But more importantly, it would send a signal that we are serious about lowering the deficit. As an aside, with the passage of the stimulus bill earlier this year, domestic discretionary spending will rise 12% this year alone. Third, we should and must reform the unemployment system to help out-of-work people find jobs. Federal unemployment recipients who are likely to exhaust benefits should be required to participate in education, training, or enhanced job searches. Fourth, the government should block any federal tax increases until unemployment drops below 5%. Now, while some of us have taken very strong positions in this tax arena, and there are plenty of philosophical differences between the two parties when it does come to taxes, we can all agree that the government should never raise taxes during a recession or during periods of high unemployment. And finally, fifth, we must deal honestly and swiftly with the looming crisis in the commercial real estate industry affecting each and every one of your state's budgets. Congress should move to give bank regulators incentives to deal responsibly with banks and their borrowers. Forcing liquidations of performing loans just makes no sense. Asset values will, at a minimum, stabilize if regulators assume a more prudent posture when it comes to risk. The badly wounded credit markets could then begin the process of repair. These are 5 common sense solutions that don't cost anything. They're based on the time-honored principles proven to create jobs and ultimately could lead us back to the path of economic prosperity. Just one more Jefferson story. It may be no more than a fable, but it truly illustrates to us an important point about his leadership and can serve as inspiration for all of us. President Jefferson was riding on horseback with his caravan from Washington back down to Monticello through the Virginia countryside. His group and his men reached a river where there was no ferry and there was no bridge, no way to get across other than to lead the horses through the shallow water. As the men before Jefferson made their way across, traversed the terrain before the riverbank, they came upon a gentleman who stood on the riverbank with a bundle. Each of the president's men traveled by. It wasn't until it was Mr. Jefferson's turn to cross did the man speak up and ask for a lift. In the very true tradition of being a Virginia gentleman, Mr. Jefferson offered the gentleman a ride, walked the horse across the water with this gentleman and his bundle on horseback. When they get to the other side, the president's men approach this man and says, "I can't believe what you did. Why would you ask the President of the United States for a ride when you could have asked us?" The man said very simply, "Each time I looked at your faces when you passed by me, I saw the word N-O written across your forehead. It was only when I looked to the President that I saw the letters Y-E-S." So yes, these are troubling times, and they're difficult for all of us. But some of the worst that we've experienced, frankly. But as leaders, as public servants, when the people of this country and the world look to us, they need to see a face that says yes. If our faces say yes, and we lead with the character, enthusiasm that we've seen our leaders do in the past, if we seize the opportunity before us, America can get across the river and continue to build the land of freedom that will lead the whole world. Thank you very much for your service to that dream. Thank you again for this honor. God bless you all and this country once again.